Alright guys, quick tutorial on how to wheelie the Honda Grom SF model. Mods I've done to this: I've got a stunt clutch, I've got a -1 sprocket in the front, and I've also got 3 heavier clutch springs with the clutch plate as well. It's not required, it does make it easier, but yeah, I've wheelied a stock Grom pretty much one day out of the factory. No issues with it at all. It comes down to the skill and technique. Other bikes that you wheelie, you rely a lot on the power. The Honda Grom has got a whopping 9 horsepower, I think. So it pretty much comes down to all your technique, your body position and your clutch, your throttle and your brake timing. So what you're going to do is set up your clutch so you're using 3 fingers on the bars. You'll be able to grip it a lot better with 3 fingers instead of using 2 on the clutch. Use 3 on the bar and then 1 on the clutch. By doing that, what you can do is then when you pull up, you'll be able to pull up on the bars a lot better. With the clutch, adjust it so when you're pulling it in, say for example you've got a longer lever, it'll come out to here, pretty much just past all your fingers. You're pretty much wedging it against your fingers. When you're popping your clutch, you're popping it like that. It doesn't mean so sort of like bleed it out, it means pop it, like so just in. So what you're doing is basically clutch in, you give it revs, pop, like that. So what you want to be doing is as you're riding, you want to be able to pull your clutch in and bring your throttle up, probably about maybe a half turn. I actually wouldn't say a half turn, but just try a little, just babysit as a start. So pull it a little bit. So clutch in, pull, and like that. That's the technique you want to be doing. So to do it slow, clutch in, throttle, out. And quick it'll be like that. So clutch and throttle. That's pretty much all you want to do. You just want to do it like just a little tiny hop. So watch my clutch. So clutch in, throttle, it's out quick. Clutch in, throttle. That's it. My revs aren't doing much. Let's have a look at the throttle hand now. I'm backing off. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm leaning forward. Clutch in, throttle, I'm leaning back at the same time. It comes all to timing. Once you get your timing down, you'll feel it pop up like that. Lean forward, clutch in, like you almost tug up on the bars, not back on the bars. So sort of like lean a little bit forward, tug up, and it'll come up. You're going to get to the point where you hardly even notice your body position anymore. You're just so used to it. But yeah, what I really found helped was using the rear foot on the brake. So right now, so it's brake, 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 clutch in, and then release the brake at the same time that'll do the clutch. It sort of unloads the suspension at the front. It just helps you bring the bike up a lot easier. You can still do it without it. So both balls on my feet on the pegs. Bike will still come up. Once you've practiced that enough, then you should be able to get to the point where you can start bringing your clutch in, a bit more throttle, comes up a little bit higher. You hold the throttle that little bit longer, and you just get to the point where you're just riding out the revs. The first few times you do it, you'll be thinking, yep, cover the rear brake, cover it. As soon as you pop that clutch, everything goes out the window that's in your head and you're just panicking, you just want to shut that throttle off. It is not a comfortable experience at the start until you get used to it. Once you start getting used to it, you always hit your foot on that brake. And you start getting to the point where you can ride your wheelies out that little bit longer, like that. When you're getting to that point, that's when you start thinking to yourself, all right, I'm going to use my rear brake and bring it down. So, rear brake, bring it down. Practice that. Once you have got to that point where you have been using that rear brake to bring it back down, like that. So rear brake on, clutch in, throttle, release, brake, and clutch at the same time. Then hit the rear brake now to bring it down. That's it. Once you get comfortable enough to do that, that is when you can start going that little bit higher. Once you get higher, that's when you're going to start getting your distances. You're going to start getting to the point where you're going to be doing that. And you're going to be like, holy shit, you're going to freak out. You're not going to be used to it. The first few times you get up that high, you'll be slamming the rear brake and bringing it straight back down. You want to get comfortable with the bike. That's all it is. It's just a matter of just getting enough seat time on this bike so you can get to the point where you can You understand everything that the bike is doing. You know how it's going to feel when you pop it at a certain amount of revs, how much revs. Like I know right now that if I just give it a little bit of rev with the clutch, it'll only come up a little bit. Whereas if I give it, like say for example, a fair bit more, it'll come almost up to balance point. Like that. That's majority of the beginner stuff. That's how you're going to basically getting the bike up in the air, getting that wheelie comfortable, and using the rear brake to just bring it straight down straight away. Don't worry about riding it out, just bring it down with the rear brake. The reason I say to learn the rear brake just to bring it down is because you will train yourself, so when you freak out and you do go too high, you'll hit that rear brake. The Grom doesn't have much of an engine brake, so just to bring it off on throttle, when you're pretty much up at balance point, it's not going to engine brake much at all, and you probably will end up on your ass. So I would recommend use that rear brake and just learn how to use it pretty much like a reaction. So yeah, it just becomes a reflex. That's what you're after. You want to learn to use that rear brake like a reflex. I'm still working on smoothing out my throttle and my brake. You need to be very, very smooth with both. At the start, I'll be doing this. Then hit the rear brake too hard, it just slams back down. You have to be feather light with the brake, just very, very softly touching it. That's going past balance point and slowing it down using the rear brake. So that is where you're going to be able to get to by just following these steps that I've basically said. So recap on the foot brake. Foot brake down, very softly. You want to be using very soft touches with the foot brake. Throttle, you want to be very smooth as well, not chopping it like this. You want to be like sort of very gradual. That's using the rear brake to slow it down. You can probably hear the revs dropping a little bit. You can probably see the speedo as well coming down. So yeah, that's the stage where you're going to get to. That one there was pretty much riding it very high in the revs, so there was a bit more engine braking, but yeah, ideally you want to be riding it lower.